Hello, my name is Swiss Bianco. In this video we will have a look at a Taurus Model 85 in stainless steel, older model. In this video especially at the finish, the satin finish, stone wash finish that they did on it from the factory. Of course, since it's an older gun, slightly used, it had some problems on the finish as well. So I wanted to try out on this case what I can do with the finish, and what was suggested online, what I found is basically that Scotch-Brite pad in grey. It's a ultra fine pad. Unfortunately in the local shops they did not have that. I had to order it online because they only have the more coarse version and not the finer one like this one. So this is the grey version that I used, and first we're gonna have a look at the finishes that the revolver has. Now the trigger got reworked and the cylinder already too. Just saying, the original finish is still on the flat part of the frame and barrel. So we see it has not a polishing on it, but a stone washed, a really fine stone washed finish there that they did in Brazil back then, basically in a big tub with ceramic, quite likely, or another medium. There is different mediums that you can use to stone wash, that at the end you get it relative shiny and not that usual stone wash finish with basically more coarse scratches on them. So that is what they did, and that of course we cannot reproduce because there is so many variables in it. What medium or mediums they used, you know, they quite likely did have different stone wash buckets with different media to step by step go to that finish. Basically like sanding, you start with a coarser sandpaper and then you go to fine and super fine. Like that you have to think about the stone washing as well. So they did that, and because of the medium that they used, they could of course not reach the inside of the trigger guard too well. So that, as they took it out, that did look a bit different there. So inside the trigger guard, of course, without the trigger in it, pre-or assembly, they did the finish. They had a brush finish inside the trigger guard. I did already smooth that out a bit too there, to get a bit more uniform finish. That was a relative rough in the trigger guard there, but that was the finish number 2. And then of course, as usual, there are some parts that are fine blasted. They had to cover or made a fixture that basically only the top part here is exposed, and then they did fine blast the sides. In earlier days on some revolvers that was not matte or as shiny as the rest of the guns, of the firearms, not specifically to Taurus, other brands too. So you had trouble with aiming. The aiming system for such as nose revolvers are not the best anyhow, and if that is completely shiny satin or even high polished, then it's even worse. So they basically left those parts here on top exposed, did a fine blast, and we have some carrying marks and rubs on it as well. And there we cannot fix much on that side if you don't have a fine blast machine that is for stainless steel and only be used for stainless steel. If you use something that is used for a regular carbon steel as well, you impregnate the surface with little rust particles and all that. That is not good at all. So we can fix here that yet, but it's at least not in that bad of a shape. Inside is or was basically a similar finish that got also fine blasted all the way inside the frame, because there the stonewash media did not reach all the corners either. By the stonewash finish like this, actually you can look at your Swiss Army knife, Victorinox, Wenger, Swiss Bianco. It doesn't matter what brand it is. It often has a shiny finish, and that's done in the same way, with just stone washing finer and finer. So those are the three finishes, and of course we had some scratches on it. That was a gun that was used by somebody, not misused, not abused, but still it got carried quite a bit, and I wanted to test out to refinish the finish, and that is the way to go. So my experience is that if you cut a stripe off and then you simply rub it, you need to be careful. It gets really fast to a high polished or a higher polished finish. So the way how I do it or did it is to basically smooth everything out. That wears out the pad quite a bit, and then use a new section of the pad and give it the last touch of the finish. In this case here, I saw that if I finish it the long way, as you usually do, it did not look that well as if I finish it the other way. So I did it the other way, and that did turn out really well. Oh. That did turn out really well, and I'm gonna do that on the flat surfaces too. I did already do that finish on the cylinder. Again, the line of the finish is like this. Also in the flutes it's also like this, but of course you can test it out, since there is no removal in that regard of a finish, but just a change of the look of the stainless steel finish. You can test it out what you like better. Is it the long way or how I did it, just the other way? That is up to you. And yeah, that is relative time consuming if you do that. Of course, safety first, you need to be careful, but like this you can refinish basically any stainless steel firearm. It's not gonna look like from the factory, but it's gonna look nice, and that is what counts. I would say by used firearms, the finish at the end gonna be pretty uniform. And yes, I'm gonna make a video in time as all is done on that revolver. The next part gonna be about the trigger and the trigger changes, the spring changes that I did do on that revolver as well. So that much about stainless steel finish and how you can refinish it.